Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all having a fantastic afternoon or whatever time it is in your part of the world. Today I'm going to be doing a different sort of video. Now, I made a series yesterday, but I didn't really like the way it turned out, so I think I'll just put that series on hold for the time being. But I'm going to do something completely different. This is not going to be a series. This is just going to be a video that I'll do occasionally, recommending some underrated horror films that you probably haven't seen. Not all of them are horror, some of them are thriller. But these are films that you may not have heard of, and every now and then I'll collect some films and give you a recommendation video. So this is going to be the first of them. So the first one, these are all foreign, by the way. All these recommendations will be foreign. I'll also do the occasional video of some US horror, low budget stuff, and some British stuff, and English speaking stuff, but it's all going to come recommended. So I've got a fair stack here, so I'm going to get onto it straight away before I make this video too long. The first one I'm going to recommend is a French horror film made in 2001 called Trouble Every Day. Now, not a lot of people are going to like this one. If you're a French horror fan, this is something very different, but I would recommend it. It's quite brutal and nasty, so it's a cannibal movie. I will do a review of this a little bit later, but I would recommend it, and just be careful because it's not like your standard sort of French stuff. The next one I've done a review of, this is I Saw the Devil. Brilliant film, highly recommend it. You need to go out there and see this one. Very good South Korean horror film. Next one is another South Korean black humor film called The Quiet Family. I've done a review of this from the same director of I Saw the Devil. I think this is his first film. It was made quite a while ago. Very, very enjoyable with some really dark humor in it. So if you're a fan of dark humor, this is definitely one to get because I highly enjoyed this and I highly recommend it. Next up is a German thriller, and it's very disturbing, and there's been a recent American remake. This is called Das Experiment. I haven't seen the remake. I don't want to because I love the original. I'll be doing a review of this a bit later. But this is Adrian Brody stars in the remake, but this is the German original, and it's a brilliant film and highly, highly recommended. Next one is a Spanish suspense thriller, and this is King of the Hill. One of the lesser known sort of Spanish horror films. High suspense levels and a very important, powerful message that's delivered in this film, but highly recommended. Next is another Spanish horror film called Time Crimes. This is the best time travel movie I've seen. Highly enjoyable and a lot of replay value. So definitely put this one on your list if you haven't done so already. It comes highly recommended from me. Next is another Spanish horror film from the same director of Rec and Rec 2, that is The Nameless. Very nasty stuff. If you like Martyrs, you'll probably like this one. It's a lot different from Martyrs, but it has that same sort of dreaded atmosphere, and it does centre around a cult. So, very nasty stuff. If you like your Spanish horror films, this is a must. Next one is a Norwegian gore film. This is called Manhunt. Not a lot has been heard of this one. Very, very good, very gory. A lot of people hate it, but I highly recommend it because I thought it was really good. Not the most original storyline, but who needs an original story when you've got a really good gore film? And this comes highly, highly recommended. A Swedish drama that is quite powerful and brutal. That is Evil. Haven't done a review of this yet. I'll be doing so in the near future. But another highly recommended drama that is very gripping. We've got a French animated horror film with a collection of French animated stories. This is Fears the Dark. I loved it. A lot of people don't like it, and a lot of people haven't heard of it. So if you like your animations, this is something to get, and if you want something a little bit different from your usual French horror, this is something to pick up because the animations are brilliant and the stories are really twisted. Next, we've got another very underrated French horror film called High Lane. Some awesome rock climbing scenes. The slasher part of the film is a little bit lacking, but it makes up for it just because of those rock climbing scenes. Absolutely fantastic. I love this film, and it grew on me. At first, I didn't really like it, but the more I watched it, the more it grew on me, and I highly recommend this one. It is very underrated. It's not the same level as the better known sort of French horror films, but it's certainly a lot better than films like Humains. Next, we've got a thriller called The Serpent. I was very surprised by this one. Highly recommended. I loved it. Very, very suspenseful. Didn't like the ending. It was a little bit Hollywood, but Apart from that, it was very, very good. Highly recommended. We've got another French horror film called Stranded. It's kind of a war movie slash horror film. A lot of people also didn't like this, but I would highly recommend it if you're a fan of French horror. I enjoyed it. I just finished watching it again today, and it's really good. Next, we have another French. The rest of these films are going to be French horror. This one's In Their Sleep. Very sort of artsy film, and very, very depressing and disturbing, and the stack just fell. So yeah, very depressing, disturbing, and it was actually, it was quite brutal. Not overly gory, but there were some pretty brutal scenes in it. And the last one I'm going to recommend is probably the most overrated film you can get out there. This is one of the best zombie slash infected films I've seen. That is Mutants. Superb movie, one of my favourite French horror films. If you like your infected slash zombie films like 28 Days Later, you will like this one. I don't think it's quite as good as 28 Days Later, but it certainly has an impact, and it's a very unique twist on that genre. So I've done a review of this. If you want more details, then go ahead and see the review. So that's it for my first recommendation video. I'll be making more in the future with other foreign movies, and as I said, some low budget American stuff and British stuff and Australian stuff that I would highly recommend to you all. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, take care of yourselves and have a great day. Bye.